My name is Captain Jim and I've been a fishing guide in Sarasota, Florida since 1991. In this video, I'm going to go through the best fishing spots from Long Bar to the north down to Blackburn Point in the south. These are the spots that I fish on my charters every day. For those anglers who are a bit more serious, I am offering a paid version of this video. It's a little bit over an hour long and contains more details such as the best tides, best time of day, best lures, species, just more information. This video will get you started and I'm sure it'll help you catch more fish. But for those who want just a bit more information, you can click on the link below to purchase it. Thanks. Okay, let's start our little discussion of the best Sarasota fishing spots up north at Long Bar. Long Bar is an excellent fishing spot. It's a long point that comes out from the mainland 3/4 of the way across the bay. If you're running up the bay this way and don't turn, you're going to hit it. Excellent spot for redfish, but you'll get snook and other shallow species. The deeper grass on the south side of the bar is good for trout and other type deep water fish, Spanish mackerel, pompano, ladyfish jacks, etc. I like to fish this spot on a low incoming tide. Across from Long Bar, some excellent shallow water redfish spots around White Key. You need a fairly shallow draft boat to get up in here on the lower tides, but on high tides plenty of room. You can work the potholes and edges of the spoil islands. Catch redfish, snook, trout, jacks. This is what they call the shoal or buttonwood. You can see there's a long shallow point that comes out here. There's this marker on the end to help you find it. Excellent area with lots of grass to drift for trout and other deep water species. You can also fish the shallow water around Whale Key and these other bars for snook and reds. Also, you can come in the marked channel and into Buttonwood Harbor itself in the wintertime and catch trout and other species. On the east side of the bay, Bowley's Creek is good in the wintertime. Catch jacks and snook. This deep grass at Stevens Point is really good for speckled trout, Spanish mackerel, and other species. It's real easy to find. Big area of deep grass right off of Stevens Point. Across the bay we have Bishop's Point, and then to the north, Helicopter Shoal. These are both good areas for drifting for trout in the deeper water and pompano and Spanish mackerel and other species. Helicopter Shoal is a long bar that runs east-west. The north side of the bar is shallow. The best fishing is on the south side and the southeast side. Though if you want to get up there skinny, you can see redfish and school and jacks sometimes. All the water along the east side of Longboat, the west side of Sarasota Bay. Good shallow water red fishing, some of the best in the area. Real nice mangrove shoreline all along here. There's also an entrance into a little rim canal that runs from Country Club Shores all the way up to Buttonwood. Good spots to fish on windy days in the wintertime. This little point here we call Country Club Shores. Another good little trout spot, your typical deep water species. These canals all along here on Longboat Key are really good in the winter for sheep's head, redfish. Again, another good place to get out of the wind and fish. This is Wick's Channel. You can enter from this side or from the New Pass side. Really good spot for trout, silver trout and speckled trout in the winter when they're searching for the deep water. This big area of green is the Middle Grounds. One of my favorite fishing spots. I catch just about everything there. It's the first big flat off a New Pass and fish will get up on there and scatter out. It's a fairly large area, so you got to keep moving around till you find what depth and what area the fish seem to want. If the breeze is blowing, I like to drift and cast a jig or free line a live shrimp. If it's not windy, it can be tough, and trolling is maybe a good bet to try to locate them. You'll find grass from 1 foot deep here near the pass all the way out to 9 or 10 feet deep. Just a really good area and almost always will produce some type of fish. unless the water's real dirty from a recent storm. Coming down this edge, you have New Pass. The no-wake zone starts about right here. There's a really nice little park right here, an area where people can park and fish these piers. The water's deep and there's lots of structure. Good bottom fishing for snapper and sheepshead. As you come out through the pass, you got New Pass bait and tackle right at the base of the bridge. Great spot to pick up your shrimp and tackle and ice, and also they have really good food there. Hamburgers and breakfast sandwiches. New Pass itself has pretty good fishing. I like to drift with the current in this area from the bridge west. Bounce a pompano jig on the bottom and see if I can catch a pompano. Almost always pick up a ladyfish or something else along the way. The mouth of New Pass can be really good. You'll oftentimes see Spanish mackerel breaking on the surface. Great time to throw a spoon or other lure at them, or especially fly fishing. You'll have ladyfish and jacks and other fish mixed in. Guys will sit on these bars here too and sight fish for pompano, or I'm sorry, sight fish for tarpon in the summertime. This area here is called the Radio Tower Flats. There's a big radio tower right here on the east end of the island. Can't miss it. Again, another big, large area. Excellent drift fishing for trout and other species. There's oftentimes a lot of bait seen dimpling up on the surface. This little canal runs along here and runs on the back side. It's a nice spot in the winter to get out of the wind and catch some trout. Good wintertime fishing spot. There's also 3 artificial reefs in Sarasota Bay, or 4 actually, up in this section. Pop Jansen Reef right here. Hart Reef here. Johnny Walker Reef here. Sarasota Sport Fishing Club Reef here. All the numbers are easy to find. Good spots for just some family fishing with live bait. They get hit pretty hard because everyone knows where they're at and the numbers are published. But just a good spot to anchor up, toss out a bait, and catch a fish. Okay, this area between the Ringling Bridge and Siesta Drive Bridge is an area that I fish a lot. There's a lot of spots that are close together and it's relatively productive. So I'm going to go through them kind of quick. This little flat here we call the Marina Jack Flat. It's 3, 4, 5 foot of water depending on the tide, surrounded by some deeper water. Really good spot for a variety of species. We've been getting a lot of silver trout in this deeper water lately. Further to the south is what we call the Selby Bar. This is Selby Gardens right here, and then this is the creek. This bar here is good for redfish and snook and trout where it drops off. Of course, the bayou there is fine for snook and jacks in the winter, just like all the other creeks. Moving out, this big area here we call the Marker 6 Flat, and on the other side, Marker 5 and 7 Flat. These are all really good areas to drift for trout and a variety of other species. I don't do much out here in the middle of the bar. All around the entire length of Bird Key are productive docks. Not this side here, but all around here. So what I do is, depending on the wind direction, really decides which docks I fish. Sometimes you're looking for the wind to help you. Sometimes you're looking to get out of the wind. Really depends. Excellent sheep's head spots, and you catch your normal bottom fish all year long. This little channel is called the Yacht Club channel. We drift it for pompano and ladyfish and other species. Right here is Plymouth Harbor. It's the tallest building in Sarasota. You can see it from everywhere. It's a little channel that runs around the back here and goes all the way around Otter Key. Plenty of good docks and some good edges. Can catch sheep's head and redfish and stuff in the winter, snook, and some other species. Great spot to fish when it's really windy. This is South Lido Park. One of the best spots for people without a boat to fish. You can park here. You can walk the beach here and fish all year long. Snook in the summer, mackerel and ladyfish in the spring and fall. If you continue all the way down here, there's some really nice grass flats that you can wade out. Be really careful. In fact, just don't wade here. The currents get really strong. But when the current rips around this corner, you can have runs of all kinds of fish. Pompano, mackerel, bluefish, a little bit of everything. The pass itself, I fish a lot. I drifted bouncing jigs on the bottom, silly willy jigs and others. Mainly looking for pompano, but catch plenty of ladyfish, mackerel, bluefish, other stuff. A lot of times you'll see busting fish and we'll throw spoons and stuff at them. This area from here all the way to the point is just ate up with good structure. This is the best sheep's head spot in Sarasota in February and March. You'll see a ton of guide boats and a ton of recreational boats. Plenty of room for a lot of people to fish. You can pretty much just pick anywhere, anchor close to the structure, catch sheep's head. There's also snapper and snook, and the snook will stack up in the summertime out here. Best bet is live bait. Best bet for the sheephead obviously is shrimp. Coming in here south of marker 5 and 7. Don't fish in here a lot. There's an artificial reef here and a little bit of grass that you can try. Some docks in here. I don't fish that a lot, but if you're patient and you fish the docks, you can catch some redfish and snook. This real shallow bar here is real popular for guys to catch bait. It's also a good place to throw a topwater plug on a high incoming tide in the morning. You'll see the bait all peppered up there in the summer. Good docks along this area here too for sheep's head. Here's the Siesta Drive Bridge, or what we call the North Bridge. Nice park right here for, again, anglers without a boat to park and fish the seawall. Probably the best option is an outgoing tide at night when the tide swirls around this point and you can cast jigs out in that area. This little area down here is tricky. You got to be careful. Of course, it's all no wake anyway, but there's a lot of nice bars, oyster bars, and fairly shallow grass flats where you can catch snook, trout, red, jacks, bunch of stuff. This dead end canal has good docks, bunch of good docks all along here and then down into here. This flat here is very shallow, so you got to be careful. That's kind of a skinny water redfish only spot. This channel here, you see where it's a little bit deeper between here and going up to what we call Skiers Island. This little channel will have ladyfish and pompano and stuff in it, especially in the cooler weather. Here's a nice little island here with grass flats all around it. This whole area used to be really good for trout. Don't catch near as many as I used to, but I'll still drift it and catch trout sometimes. We call this the Field Club Flat because the Field Club is right here. Just a big area where you can drift and cast jigs. The further south you get, the shallower it gets. These are pretty much redfish and snook spots. You'll get some jacks too. You'll see a lot of the local guides fishing with live bait in this area. This side here gets pretty shallow, but on a high tide you can get up and work this edge. Catch redfish and stuff like that. This is the Grand Canal. Goes all through Siesta Key. Good spot in the wintertime, like all the creeks. I'll troll plugs and catch big jacks in there. There's also snook. Again, good spot to fish when it's windy. Right here, the no wake zone starts. This whole channel, from this no wake zone all the way down here to Stickney Point, which isn't pictured. Really good spot to drift and fish the edges for sheep's head, mangrove snapper, and other species. I'll fish here in the wintertime. Again, it's a good spot on a windy day. Theoretically, it's no wake, but on a busy day, there's a ton of boat traffic, so don't try to fish that on a Saturday afternoon. This is Philippi Creek, one of my favorite fishing spots, especially in the wintertime. There's a couple holes here and here. You can anchor up and fish with shrimp and catch sheephead and drum and snook and redfish and jacks. In the wintertime, the fish will push all the way up the bridge, heck, all the way to Philippi or Proctor Road. The area south of Stickney Point we locally call the Little Bay. It has a distinctive environment quite different from the North Bay. It's dominated mostly by oyster bars and mangrove shorelines as opposed to grass flats. It would sound redundant if I said the same thing at each spot, but basically I fish these bars casting a shallow diving plug, with the Rapala X-Rap being my favorite, or a soft plastic lure on a jig head. Obviously you can use top water, and when I do use shrimp, use it under a popping cork because I'm usually fishing water 3 or 4 feet deep. So I'll just point out all the bars and spots going south. On the east side, there's a nice bar just below the bridge, just right past the no-wake zone. Along this area is a bunch of docks. On the other side at marker 53, west of 53, is a real nice bar, and there's some grass back in this corner. In the middle of this open bay is a bar that basically goes all the way across. The east side is a bit larger and has more structure, especially on the south side. On this north side here, there's some nice grass. This bar here, same deal. You work the edges of the bars and down around the point. These open areas used to have a lot of trout in them. Not so much anymore. Perhaps it's the grass loss. Going down in here, this is Pelican Cove. There's some real nice bars and spoil islands back up in here. There's a little canal, and you can go up in the harbor there and catch snook in the wintertime. Quite shallow in this area, so be real careful. Obviously it's no wake, so you want to go slow anyway. Okay, here's the boat ramp at Turtle Beach. Put your boat in there, idle around the point. Takes you right out into the bay. A nice little bar to the north. Some nice flats right across from that marked channel. And also, there's a really nice park at Vamo where you can launch your kayak and fish all this shallow water stuff down here, which is really perfect kayak water. As you go down the channel, this is all called the Neville Preserve. Most of it's very shallow, too shallow for most boats, but perfect for kayaking. In the wintertime, the fish will stack up in the channel, but otherwise you're fishing the bars and the flats just like you do the other parts. North Creek empties in here, so it makes it a pretty good fishing spot. Down to the south, there's a nice little flat in here off of those big homes at the Oaks, but make sure you got enough water to get in there. Here's the channel going to Old Midnight Pass, which is now closed. This land is connected, so people will pull their boats up there and go out and fish the beach and goof around. Working your way south, there are nice flats on either side, but particularly on the east side to drift for trout and ladyfish. There's a bar that comes out here, but there's a big bar area here about halfway down on the west side. Really good to try for trout and reds and snook and stuff. Coming down a little bit further, again, nice area here, mixed bars. Gets very shallow down in here. Actually better kayak water. There's a really nice kayak launch at Blackburn Point. There's also a brand new boat ramp, well, not brand new, but a few years old, right here at Blackburn Point that gives you access if you don't want to mess with getting out on the key or going through the no-wake zone. A lot of good shallow bars there to the north.